February 6th today. Yesterday was, I think, my worst day in a long time. Finished dead last. I don't think I had much right yesterday, to be honest with you guys. Jamal Murray was 100% owned in this contest, so he was a scrap. So the 16.7 didn't hurt, but completely wrong about him. Rudy Gobert was okay, but you had to go Joker on this slate, and he hit his ceiling. So round of applause to a really good player, and Minnesota kept it close. And D'Angelo Russell had that game that we all were waiting for, and didn't have him. So but I do like that I didn't have Beta in, but he was one of the value plays, and he just had one amazing game. And I can't believe his price is still $12 today. We'll talk about that. But let's forget about that one, and let's move on to today and try to get back in the green, shall we? Because that was just atrocious. I hope some people out there hit some green yesterday. Today, there's a lot of slates. There's the main 11. There's a 5. There's a 3 and a 2. I'll be going to 3 today. And let's take a look. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, let's see what it looks like. This slate will be locking at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 Eastern time. So hopefully, I like this slate because hopefully we'll have the news on Leonard and George. Okay. Before we go into the plays today with the 3 game, we're literally waiting for Clipper news. Okay, guys. Leonard rest because it's a back-to-back. We don't know if George is going to be in. He was out with that ankle. I don't really buy that it was actually an ankle. So we need to know. We need to know this. We also need to know if Morris is going to be out again. That might change the rotation up. We need to know all of the Clipper news to really be able to build this line. But in terms of Chicago, the COVID peeps are still out, and in terms of SAC, there's no change there. And Toronto Phoenix has their full teams to play with. Both the first 2 games are really. The spreads are close, and then this one's supposedly supposed to be a 7-point gap. So I don't really believe that, though. But let's move on to some value plays here today, okay? I'll start with there are not a lot of value plays I like at all on this slate. So today I'm very comfortable with saying I think a balanced approach is the way to go. Unlike yesterday where I think you had to have some punts and hit on those big guys because you needed Joker. Today, I don't think that you need to necessarily do that to get up to those high expensive players. And there's some players that are mispriced. Okay, there's some players that are mispriced. I'll go through the mispriced players. I think there's one really mispriced player, but values first. We're going right back to Batum. I don't know if I said Batum earlier. I always say that Batum. It's Batum. Sorry if I mispronounced his name earlier. But Batum. I'm gonna lock him in as one of my value plays and play him today. If one of the following or all occur, one of Leonard or George is out, or Morris is still out and George and Leonard both play. I'll play him in any of those scenarios. I will not like him if George and Leonard both play and Morris is back. Okay. And Batum's been playing well enough. I'd be super surprised if he isn't in the starting lineup when Morris comes back. I think Morris will ride the bench and come off the bench, but we'll see. But I really love Batum today at $12. Don't expect the 40 fantasy points. Expect his usual 20 to 25 fantasy points, and that is going to be right where I need him to be today. He'll really be my only value player that I would play if he's in my lineup. There's a few others. Our boy CB. Boucher, they're having issues with their center rotation. They've got Len, Baines, and Boucher. I don't know what's happening with it, and he is the most talented. If he were to get a start today, he would end up being my favorite value play over Batum. If they still go Baines and Len's still in the rotation, I just he's a good play, but risky. You just do not know what they're doing with that center position. So he's in play. And if he starts, I will be trying to fit him in because I think that will be a smash spot. And they really could do that because Baines started last game, but then he got benched when the second half started. So keep an eye out for him. He is a good value. And then Kennard, he's a good value play at $10. He's only in play for me if both George and Leonard are out. If both George and Leonard are out, I could see myself getting to Kennard over Batum just because he's $2 less. I still like Batum because he can do a little bit of everything. So we'll have to see. But in order, depending on lineups, it's Batum, Boucher, and then Kennard. But Kennard could be first if both of them are out because he's $10, so he'd be getting probably 40 minutes. So we'll have to wait and see. We're waiting for that Clippers news, but those are my value plays. I don't like any other value plays today, which is crazy, but there's not a lot of value out there opened up right now for us. Oh, I'll name it. I don't like it. I'll name it. You could go Patrick Williams again, but I like my value plays that have a chance to get 30 plus minutes. So I won't be going Patrick Williams. Today for our core plays, it will be Ayton at center. Let me explain myself. I've been hating on Ayton all year, but I'll tell you this. I need to get center right today. We need to get center right today. Rashawn Holmes could go off because the Bulls are awful, but Wendell Carter is a good defender. He had that this 2 game was really intriguing people, but he's more of everything else that he's done. So I think his upside is 30 fantasy points today, which he could get to, but his floor is also 12. I don't like Serge Ibaka on the back-to-back with old legs. Wendell Carter Jr., again, like I said, I like to have players that can reach that 30 minutes. He has reached 30 minutes twice this year, and he gets in foul trouble quite a bit. Fox will be diving to the hoop. He could get in foul trouble today. Barnes will be driving to a lot of players driving to the hoop. So if I was going off Ayton, it would be Carter Jr., but I don't think I need to save that $9. I'd like to have Ayton with the upside because he has an upside of 50 fantasy points. He hasn't hit it yet, but he can get to 50 fantasy points, guys. No one on Toronto can stop him in the center position. Boucher would be interesting to pair with him. If they started Boucher, I think he's got the best chance of doing anything against Ayton. Baines ain't doing a thing against this guy. He's really not going to. And what I like about Ayton is his minutes have been rising. He's right under that 30 minutes. I think he can hit 30 minutes because Toronto is a bigger team. Okay? So I like Ayton a lot. Next core play, and it's just because his price is too cheap, man. I mean, they're not raising it. He's now kind of being a very steady fantasy producer at a point per minute. He's been doing a point per minute basically all season or slightly better. He's had a few bad games. He's had, 3 down games? And everything else has been just solid. If he gets us 33, if he gets us to the 30 mark, we just need to the 30 mark. And against Sacramento, I see it happening. They're on a back-to-back, so it's a little sketch. But I hope he has something left in there. I would love 30 to 35 fantasy points. And at $22, he's got to be higher. He's mispriced. Kobe White's mispriced, and so that's why he makes the core play. And then I've done this a few times, and I know people are probably wearing thin on me. Okay. I definitely know there'll be people kind of like, oh man, you're going back to Siakam. Yes, going back to Siakam. If he can stay out of foul trouble, which he hasn't all year. So I get it if you're like, dude, I can't do this. I can't. 2 of the 5 games he's played, he's fouled out. Okay. One of them, he was a point per minute and played 34 minutes. That would work for us today. Okay. The other one, which I played him, and he was a core play, 16.3 fantasy points. I don't think that's going to happen today. I don't see the fouls being there for him. This team, I mean, Phoenix, as long as he doesn't foul Booker going to the hoop or CP3, I think we'll be fine. Ayton's a big man, though. I mean, there's foul trouble there, but at $29, I mean, he's a guy that could go out and get you 45 fantasy points. Don't forget that. Okay. Now, Phoenix is a good defensive team, but don't forget that. And if he does that, I mean, it's pretty fantastic. I don't think Crowder can stop him. I don't think Bridges can stop him. So fire up Siakam as a core play. Okay. Now, I want a star Clipper today. Okay. I want a star Clipper today. Now, I will be a little bit lost today if George sits and Leonard plays. So I'm really hoping Leonard actually sits and George plays because I don't want to pay $47 for him. And if I do, Curry's lurking right there. And Curry is a great play at $49 against him. I think he's going to go off. I think he'll have his 50 fantasy points locked down. But the guy that's mispriced is George. So I'm really hoping I can play George as a core play. George will be a core play for me if he plays, and I will be just so happy if Leonard sits out. I'll still probably play George if they both play. Okay. Just because I don't want to sacrifice $10 to go up to Curry. I think it would be smart to have one of these 3, Curry, Leonard, or George today in your balanced approach. Okay. That's what I would recommend, that George will be a core play for me. If they're out, my lineup will change a little bit, and there'll have to be decisions to be made based on if I want to, if George is out and Leonard's in, got to decide if you want to go Leonard or if you want to pivot up to Curry or if you want to go completely balanced and fade all 3, which I think could be a little risky because you do want that player that can easily get 50 fantasy points for you. No one can stop either of them on Golden State. And then a mispriced player today, you guys, and I was wrong on him. I had a debate on him with someone that I was discussing lineups with a few days ago, and he said CP3 is looking pretty good. And I don't remember what day it was, but I mean, he was more money then. So I was uncomfortable at the 30. He dropped to $29. He dropped to $29. He's getting more minutes. This is going to be a close game. It's not going to be, I don't see it being a blowout. Okay. So in a close game, he hasn't played since the 3rd. He's rested. The last time he played in a close game, he played 35 minutes. I mean, he's got Lowry and Van Vliet. The offense flows through him. I think you got to keep an eye on Chris Paul. I think he's going to get the minutes. His minutes are trending up, averaging 29 minutes, almost 30 minutes. I think he'll be over 30 minutes. And if we're comparing those guards around there, you've got Lowry around there, you've got Van Vliet. Those guys are just like locked in. We know what they're doing, so you're not worried about what could happen. But I mean, if you think Van Vliet's going to go for 50 again, you could keep going. I don't think that he's going to keep up 50 fantasy points every game. Okay. He is hot, so you can ride him. I do get it. But for the build that I'm looking at and for, already having Siakam in here, I really like having a Sun player. So I love myself some Chris Paul today. Okay. Mispriced. I think these guys are both mispriced at $29. I don't see how they don't return value. And what you want out of these guys is, 35 fantasy points, 35, 40 would be really awesome. So I love it. some high usage players, and we'll move on. So this is the core. This is going to be the core, but I think CP3 is going to move us up in there. I can't guarantee that yet because I gotta wait for Clippers news and whatnot. But he's mispriced for sure. We have 3 mispriced players in here. So today I think it's all about kind of keying in on those mispriced players. And then, like I said, Batum, he'll be my my value play that I'm playing today until more news comes out. All right, that is it, guys, for today. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Let's get back in some cash today. And as always, love y'all. Good luck.